Hey everybody, it's Keith Saarloos, and welcome to Crazy Country 105.9. I just like doing that. And this is the third installment of Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos. And today we have someone very, very, very special, not only to me, but to the greater Santa Barbara and the Valley. Christopher Parker, one of my best pals. His son is my son's best friend. We've been friends for 20 years now. Jeez, 20 years now. And today we're going to hear the story of Kris Parker, him in the Valley, Third Window Brewing, and why he likes the Valley so much. So, Kris, from me to you, welcome to Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos, and this is the Third Window edition. How are you doing, Kris?
I am doing spectacular. Thank you, Keith.
I love the fact. So we went to Peasant's Deli right before this, and had a pretty good time. I told Kris as one of my very good friends to put in the card system for personality. So you turn up are you ready to turn up the personality today?
I'm just ready to answer questions.
Don't do that. Come on, man. You gotta bounce back.
When are we doing the Orson Welles thing?
Yes, aliens have landed in the Santa Ynez Valley. Oh my gosh! Everyone, run for the hills. So, Kris, tell everyone a little bit about not only yourself, your family, the Fess Parker Winery, a real cornerstone, a pillar of your family's been a pillar of this valley for, how many years now?
Since 1986, we moved up here. My grandpa bought the ranch. Yeah.
Riveting. All right. So let's go back a little bit further. So your grandfather's Fess Parker, correct?
Yep.
So quite honestly, a little great story between me and you is that Fess was the only person I ever saw my dad get starstruck by. In all honesty, 100% got starstruck by him. Because, as my dad put it, that was the only guy on television when he was a little teeny kid. And he would turn on the TV, watch, Davy Crockett, and he was like, this guy was the biggest thing in the history. And one of I'd like it if you could, share that moment when Fess Parker had the number one TV show, and please continue the story, because you tell it best.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
So... This is going well. So Kris Parker is our host, our guest here on Crazy Country, and he's basically not answering anything, but we're having a blast. So at one point, Fess Parker, when people talk about movie stars, TV stars, music stars, I'm leading you down. Do you remember this story yet? Okay, I'll tell the story. At one point, Fess Parker had the number one TV show in the United States, if not the world. He had the number one movie for close to a year. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I wasn't born yet.
Okay. And he had a number one album all at the same time.
Yeah, he definitely had a number one album.
That's absolutely insane.
It was like the number one song for like a comparable amount of time to the Beatles.
Isn't that? I mean, when you think about a movie star, a music star, and a TV star, you rarely think of a person doing all three at the same time. I mean, it's like the Triple Crown of fame, in all honesty.
It's weird for me because I have a different perspective on it. Like, to me, he's just my grandpa. He's like the guy that made me shag balls for him at the tennis court. And, the guy that I was fortunate enough to go on terrifying horseback rides on the ranch on. It was just a totally different thing. So
totally different.
I'm really used to answering the question.
Yeah.
But, I don't have any emotional connection to it other than that was my grandpa.
Totally. And that's why I think it's so interesting, because like my dad, a hero of mine, I've seen my dad meet like baseball stars, right? And be like, hey, how's it going? This and that. But he literally got tongue-tied when he was talking to your grandpa. And
he was that generation.
It really was, right? How tall was your grandpa again?
He was like 6'7", 6'8".
6'8"?
Yeah, in 1924. That was crazy.
That's insane.
I was when he was born, so 1945-ish.
Bigger than life. And one of the things I love pointing out, every time I go to Disneyland, we've gone to Disneyland with our kids multiple times, over there in right by the Horseshoe Saloon, up on the wall, right across from the shooting gallery, there is a Fess Parker window.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. So what year did Fess start coming up to, let's just say, Santa Barbara County?
I think my grandpa bought a ranch in Sway Canyon in the, I don't know for sure, but it was around in the 70s, and he used to drive Fox and Canyon on his way to that ranch, and he was friends with T. Hare, and T. Hare said, "Hey, this ranch is coming on the market," in around 1986, and it was kind of love at first sight. And my grandfather knew that he was going to sell the ranch to Sway Creek and buy that ranch.
So he was living where in Southern California at the time when he was coming up here?
He was in Santa Barbara.
He was in Santa Barbara already.
Yeah, he moved to Santa Barbara in the 1960s. Am I remembering this correctly or wrong? That he would drive up, was the Dutch Garden a destination that he would drive to? Yeah, 100%. When he was involved in Hollywood, he and my grandmother would just drive up the 101, and Dutch Garden was on the 101. So that was a stop. And legend has it that one day at lunch, my grandmother bought a house in Hope Ranch kind of after he got the Davy Crockett role. And
really?
That's kind of how they worked. Yeah, so they moved there.
Absolutely amazing. So you're listening to 105.9 Crazy Country. This is Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos, and today's our special guest is Kris Parker of the Parker family and Third Window Brewing. So what year did they plant the first vineyard out on Fox and Canyon?
1988 or 89.
Really?
Yeah.
And started producing, so 89 would be, what, 35 years ago? Roughly? I know, I can't do math, right?
Well, and also it makes me feel old. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we were talking about with wine, specifically in the Valley, right, is 51 years ago, Brooks Firestone and a few other people planted the very, very first vineyards and established the Santa Barbara County AVA. And for this region, a name like Firestone was massive, huge, right? And then Fess Parker comes along in the late 80s and plants another vineyard just down the road from Firestone. I mean, if you really think about it, back then, in the early days of, say, wine in Santa Barbara County, we had some really, really big, massive names moving into Santa Barbara, or Santa Ynez Valley in particular, and putting up a shingle and saying, hey, we're going to make wine in this wonderful area. And I know from you and your father, Eli, and the entire family involved in Fess Parker, you guys have won some significant awards. Your dad was the Shella Chef Award recipient once, correct?
Yeah.
And then Blair Fox also won it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the following year even.
So you guys, I mean, how many people, explain what the Shella Chef Award really is.
I'm not sure. I know it's called the International Winemaker of the Year, so I assume it's like a global winemaking award.
Yes, and you guys won it back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like it's like getting 3 Michelin stars 2 years in a row, or being putting, and in all honesty, that really put Santa Ynez Valley or Santa Barbara wine country on the map in an international scene versus, say, Napa, who won the Judgment in Paris, right? For, I would say, the Santa Ynez Valley or Santa Barbara County wine, back-to-back Shella Chef Awards is really like, it put it on the map with everybody who drank wine anywhere in the world, right? This is pre social media, this is pre everything. This is when it goes into a magazine, and when you would see something in a magazine, it'd be a really huge deal, right?
Yeah. A blurb in Cigar Aficionado.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you guys have established, Fess Parker was coming up here, bought the property. You guys planted the vineyard. Mm-hmm. And how many acres did you guys plant?
I think 30 initially, and then sometime in the early 90s, we planted another 90 acres on the top mesa.
Absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And you guys just recently revamped the whole place, and it looks absolutely gorgeous and totally inviting. Tim, who your uncle was on the Santa Barbara Vintners Association board with me, and we got to go there quite a few times to have meetings, and I was like blown away with how great that place looks.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So tell me about your journey a little bit other than the family, right? So you grew up, went off to college, met Micheline, your beautiful wife, who is so much better than you are.
Oh, so much better. Multitudes.
She, as we like to say in our group chat, our text, it's impossible not to love Micheline.
Yeah.
I've literally seen people fall in love with her who just met her. She is so much better than you, and I'm saying it to your face. And I hope she hears
It's common knowledge.
It's common knowledge.
Yeah.
So you were working with the family, correct?
Yeah, like right out of undergrad.
So where'd you go to school? Because I like pointing this one out, because you're my smartest friend. So
I went to Santa Clara University after a long and storied career at City College.
Yep. And graduated summa cum laude. Is that correct? Did I pronounce that correct? I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah, you did great.
Perfect. Thank you.
You did great.
From a very prestigious university. And then after that, came back to really work with your grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa asked me. He kind of was aware that he wasn't going to be working for much longer, and he kind of identified that this would be the window. So I went ahead and did it.
So you came back. You were working with the family. What role were you kind of doing?
I started as a financial analyst, and then I was the sort of vineyard manager and then director of hotels. And then after graduate school, I was the COO of the company.
Well done. So just so everybody's listening, the reason there's not music on right now is you're listening to Chopping It Up on 105.9 Crazy Country. I'm supposed to do that every 5 minutes, just so you know. But that's really when our paths crossed, right? So you and I one day ran into each other. You were kind of thrown at me, and I was thrown at you. And we kind of just became best friends.
Yeah, it was pretty funny considering the circumstances that it went as well as it did.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked in and there you were, and I said, "Who are you?" And you go, "I'm Kris Parker." I go, "How come I don't know you?" And you go, "I don't know." And then I'm like, "Well, looks like we're going to be friends. Let's go." And we would go get coffee and hang out and have a few smokes and that kind of stuff. But really forged a friendship that has now lasted 20 plus years, which is pretty great, man.
It's pretty, I feel for some reason our kids give it context.
It very much does, right?
It's really weird.
Yeah, because Cash was born, I think. No, Cash wasn't born yet. Brielle was alive.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I got to go visit Adeline and you guys in the hospital when we were played on the world's greatest bocce team who dominated the Santa Ynez Bocce League.
And then walked away.
How many years in a row did we win it?
I don't know, 17.
Let's just say it. 17. Yeah. We dominated
17
everything.
years in a row.
But if we go into bocce real quick, we had a secret that no one really knew about, which was everybody had to bring a bottle of wine, and we wouldn't start playing until all the wine was gone. And so we could handle our booze a little bit better than the older group. And then we just took it to them and won it, I think, years in a row.
Many years.
We had pregnant women playing and dominating.
That was probably the other thing because they were stone cold sober.
They were awesome. So I bring all of that background up because, Kris, this is my chance to throw flowers at you. You went off to USC, correct?
Yeah.
And went through the executive MBA program. And I just remember you coming back with this idea that you wanted to start a brewery.
It actually predated the program.
It predated it. But that was the thing that kind of, I would always say, that really lit the fire. Because we would go brew. Well, you would brew, and I would say, how long is this going to take?
Yeah, and then leave after, 90 minutes
Yeah,
or so.
I was bored. And then you're like, no, I've got to do this. And we would brew beer in your dad's barn, which is now my warehouse.
Yeah.
And you started this process of wanting to create something in a very specific style. Your goal was not to be a Firestone. Your goal wasn't to be this huge Budweiser, massive brewing. Your goal was to create and step in at any time here. A very specific type of beer that was really a throwback to the Trappist monks. And then more than that, when you established Third Window Brewing, which we should discuss in a little bit, you were brewing things that were very, very, very different than, I would say, traditional beer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I like rustic beers that are kind of rooted in agriculture.
Excellent. So I remember that Third Window's up and running. What year was that?
We opened in 2016, and then sort of planning and capital raising was from 2014 to middle of 2015.
But even back in 2016, pre-pandemic, right? You were making things and then foraging fruit from all around Santa Barbara County.
Yeah, we actually grew grain in 2013, thinking that we'd get the brewery open in advance.
And what's the beer that you make that you go scavenger all of downtown Santa Barbara basically, and you grab citrus? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beer called Walkabout.
Walkabout. And so tell us about Walkabout a little bit.
Walkabout, we're right next door to a little chocolate factory called 24 Blackbirds. And, we make a chocolate stout with oranges in it that tastes like one of those break apart chocolate oranges that they eat in Europe. And we use all the citrus comes from people's like backyards and stuff around Santa Barbara.
Okay, right there. That's one of the coolest things ever. Because like when I think about like Third Window, and in a second, tell us like how you came up with the name Third Window, because I think it's fascinating. But you guys became a local brewery, and by the very definition of local, right? You guys are going around and people are bringing you oranges from their trees that are just growing in the backyard. And you're bringing it in and creating a beer that is indicative of a place, right? It's like, I would say, the first terroir-driven beer. And for those who don't know, terroir means sense of place. It's a French word. It's usually used in wine. But I think you guys embody that in beer, which I'd never seen before. Is that correct?
It's funny to say. It's pretty uncommon, but if you went back 100 years, I mean, every beer style was.
Listen, nobody was alive 100 years ago, Kris.
No, there are a few. There are a few.
It's true, but the fact that you were like, oh yeah, we're making this beer, and people are just bringing oranges from their backyard.
Yeah.
What other kinds of beers were you making that were terroir driven at the time?
We make a tart little wit that had local raspberries in it. A lot of saison is fermented at like ambient temperatures.
Okay.
And
what's a
saison?
saison?
Terroir. A saison is a beer that was traditionally made at the same farms where they were making wine, and they would give it to their field workers when water wasn't potable, so that they wouldn't get dysentery or whatever diseases you get from drinking bad water.
Okay, so if you're listening right now, the reason you're not hearing music right now is this is Keith Saarloos with Chopping It Up, and I'm interviewing Kris Parker of Third Window Brewing, and we are now discussing the fact that Kris was only brewing beer that was brewed 100 years ago by foraging, by finding things around, and then now making a saison, which was basically a beer made for vineyard workers when water would kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a winemaker's kid. It's like, it's not hard to draw the line between those experiences growing up and my perspective on beverages and beer and food. And
you're such a nerd. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're the nerdiest dude I've ever met.
Well, I was trying to get the Orson Welles alien thing going on this. That was my whole goal. But so far, it's not going well.
Well, I can see from our windows here at Crazy Country 105.9 that the space saucers are just hovering right above the valley. So we still got about 15 minutes of the show. So we're doing, maybe they'll invade by then. We don't know, but be on the lookout, right? It's 10:15 in the morning on Saturday. If something happens, you know what happened. So how did you come up with the name Third Window? Because I think this is a great story. And by the way, put in your interesting card right now, okay? Do that for me. Be super, go.
So, that threw me off. I really liked the Abbey brewing traditions because they have been brewing beer for a very long time and out of a motivation that wasn't strictly profit driven.
And the Abbeys are monks, correct?
They're Trappist monks that have been making beer for usually hundreds of years. And so there's something interesting to me about doing anything for that amount of time and the product that comes out of the end of it. So when we decided to actually start a brewery, I was trying to imagine what a Trappist brewery might call itself if it started in Santa Barbara. And I started reading about the legend of St. Barbara, and it turns out that is a really interesting story. It's like the origin story of Rapunzel. And I called a friend of mine who is a marketing executive at Disney, and I said, hey, her name's Erin. I said, Erin, what do you think of the name Third Window Brewing Company? And she was like, Kris, I have no idea what that means.
Right.
But it sounds discovered. I guess I like it. That was all I needed.
So so Jeff Seek, a good friend of ours.
Yeah, Jeff was the guy brewing with me in like 2007.
When I lost interest, perfect.
Yeah, when you lost interest.
But when you said I came up with the name with the brewery, what did he say back to you?
He said something like, it's Third Window Brewing, isn't it? Or something to that. He totally guessed.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the coolest like kismet moments of like somebody can look into your friend's soul and you're like, it's Third Window, isn't it? You nerds.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Jeff's got it like a huge like tangential connection to this brewery. For
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's fast forward a little bit, because one of the things I am overwhelmed as your friend to see. Do you want me to tell a story, or do you want to tell a story?
Well, I think that you should tell the story.
I'll tell the story. So COVID hits, right? And you guys are a young brewery. And
like 4 years, 4 years in.
4 years. But
Yeah.
I mean, for any company, for any brewery, for any, business, and I think there's a lot of small business owners that listen to this show. I mean, in the Valley, one of the things, it's if you have to work to live in this Valley, because there's kind of two groups. There's people that don't have to work and there's people that do. And the people that do, put it out there all the way, all the time, because it's survival. And when COVID hit, wineries, breweries, 70, I heard this stat, 70% of small restaurants in the Los Angeles area closed and will never come back.
Wow.
During COVID, which is one of the more depressing, because every one of those businesses is a family, right? They employ people, they pay rent, they pay taxes. When those things go away, it doesn't like wipe out just like a storefront. It wipes out an ecosystem of people. And the fact that you're one of my smartest friends, right? You're very, very intelligent, up in the brains a lot. To see you say, what are we going to do here? And you had a very small kitchen. How many square feet is that kitchen?
Maybe 200 feet.
It's 200 feet. Yeah. So it's like 10 feet wide by like...
It's like 15 by 15 or something.
And every square inch. It's like if you ever get a chance to... And by the way, go to Third Window Brewing. It's located on Haley Street in downtown Santa Barbara. You're going to wait in line for one of what we're about to talk about. That kitchen is kind of like a kitchen on a ship. Like every square inch is purposeful. Every square inch is, if something doesn't need to be in there, it's not in there. But if something needs to be, then it is. But one of the things that you did was you doubled down. When we saw that, if you're serving food, you're allowed to be open outdoors. Remember all these crazy rules?
Yeah, you could only serve beer if you had an entree.
Yeah. And I went down to visit you because you started making hamburgers. Is that correct?
It sounds so ridiculous.
It does, but this is why this story needs to be told.
Yeah.
By the way, you're listening to 105.9 Crazy Country. This is Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos and Kris Parker of Third Window Brewing, and we're getting to my favorite part of the story. So you were standing behind a 2-inch thick piece of metal.
Yeah, Josh made it.
That Josh made. The steel was like almost red hot.
Yeah.
You had a open pizza oven. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Open pizza oven that Michelin was making pizzas from spent grain and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Well, when we first started making cheeseburgers, we were only doing pizza once a week.
Okay. And then all of a sudden I go down to visit you, middle of COVID and everything else. And there you are standing behind this grill. And I just thought in my head, I'm like, wow, look at this. Because
me too.
The smartest person, it's kind of like there's a certain beauty to this, because at one point, you're a controller, you're working for your family business, you're highly educated, you're incredibly intellectual and smart. And then when rubber met the road, you said, I guess I'm making burgers, and showed up one day and started making hamburgers.
So during the phase when we were all at home washing our groceries with isopropyl on our front porches, there was about a month where we didn't do anything, and I was reading this book called Hamburger America, and my sister had a ton of ground beef. She raises Wagyu.
Katie.
Yeah, Katie raises Wagyu beef here in the Valley, and she always had a hard time moving ground beef. So, I wasn't thinking that we were going to make cheeseburgers. It was just a phenomenon that she was dealing with, and it seemed like a cheeseburger would be a good way to get rid of some ground beef. So
we fast forward from 2020 to 2025. Okay, we're just doing a little jump here.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like we should skip the part where we grabbed the the top of the lodge griddle that we could only cook 4 cheeseburgers on a time, and Michelin and I were the only 2 people making these cheeseburgers in there. That's the most important part of the story, because what you did from there out of necessity, right, of survival, is we're going to make burgers so we can sell our beer. And the craziest thing that I saw as your friend watching from 10 feet away is watching you lose, 30 pounds of just absolutely sweating your brains out. And making these perfect hamburgers that you put the same amount of care and effort and
dedication into a kind of a person who wants to forage fruit to make a beer. And you took that same passion, same dedication, and you shoved it right into making these burgers out of survival, out of necessity. But you guys have now, I mean, I was there, a couple weeks ago. It is not uncommon for you guys. At one point, you had an hour-long wait.
Yeah, I can't believe people kept coming. And we've gotten past that now, but there were certain times when, the wait times were really long.
And I'm not exaggerating. It looked like somebody lining up in 1970s to go see Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, the line for your burgers and beer, but burgers, wrapped around the building.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for there to be a line all day on weekends.
It's unbelievable. And now you guys are going through, I don't know if you want to say how much, but like more beef than an In-N-Out.
I don't know if that's true, but
it's got to be close.
We sell on busy days. We sell over 1,000 cheeseburgers now in a day.
1,000 cheeseburgers.
It went from Micheline and I in that kitchen to now I think we have 40 employees.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And as your friend, I'm just saying this to you so everybody else can hear it as well. I think it's one of the great success stories of rolling up your sleeves and saying, I'm not dying on this hill. We're going to get our way through it. I don't know how, but we're going to. And instead of closing, like 70% of restaurants in Southern California, you dug your heels in and said, we're going to make the best burger on the planet.
Yep. I mean, if you're going to do something, it's not more difficult to do the best you can at it.
There's Kris Parker. That's Kris Parker. So now tell me where Third Window has grown to, because I know you guys are still making some of the best beers in the world. You also have a 100% terroir valley beer. Is that correct?
Yeah, we make a few beers that are now estate beers. So they use 100% grain that we grew. We have a hop yard that's literally getting planted right now, and we figured out how to sort of bring in water from the ranch. So that estate beer idea is alive and well, and this fall will be the first time that 100% of the ingredients for this beer are going to come from that ranch.
And how many breweries in the United, let's just say California, United States, whatever, have a 100% estate? We talk about estate in wine, which is a very big deal because less than a fraction of 1% is an estate wine, right? So if I would throw that at the beer world, which, wine snobs are one thing, but beer snobs are way worse.
I disagree.
That's very political of you. Very good job. How many estate beers are there in the United States?
I'm not really sure, but there's something like 9,000 breweries, and there's probably less than 10, maybe less than that even.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you guys are making 100% estate beef.
Probably because it makes no sense to do.
Zero. So you guys are making an estate burger, serving it with estate beer that's all from the Santa Ynez Valley.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about that. I mean, like I said, 100 years ago, that's just how people would have.
True.
That's just what their life would have been like.
But, as someone whose life is based in economics, right, you're always trying to find the best path to do anything, to make something cheaper, to make it more efficient, to make it, usually people's goal is not better. It's more efficient and more profitable. And the fact that you have always been the person who says, no, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, and then figure out how to make money afterwards is really counterintuitive, but it's also the artist in you fighting with the economist in you.
Yeah, I've been accused of exactly that.
Being psycho?
Being an artist by people that went to business school with me.
Very, very true. So right now, tell me more about Third Window Brewing. We got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes left. This is your chance to humble brag. You're just talking to your buddy Keith here. Tell me everything why I want to go to Third Window Brewing.
Wow.
You want to make the question smaller?
No. I mean, I don't care. Sure.
Okay. This is a plug for you, buddy. Come on. Third Window Brewing, I would say, has become a staple of Santa Barbara. People will travel there just to go to Third Window Brewing.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, I don't know how to answer your question, but I'll tell you what I like about Third Window Brewing.
There we go.
It's this weird mashup of strange family circumstances, and I include the core people on our team that got us to this point. So the people that manage the teams in our kitchen, my sister Katie, my dad, and my grandfather starting that silly ranch where we all grew up and developed dreams, and cooking with the wood from sort of downed oak trees, and kind of like the way that it all mixes together and becomes this thing that you can't really replicate in any other way other than to endure all the madness of the pandemic. And when I say family, I mean got people on our team like Spencer, Estevan, Austin, obviously Micheline, even though she is my family. But
Yes.
we all were in that little kitchen, making 400 or 500 cheeseburgers a day, standing, side by side with 8 of us. And today it's just really neat to see how far it's come and where it's going to go.
I think for anybody listening to this, if mostly this plays in the Santa Ynez Valley, but I would say that Third Window Brewing, right, is a Santa Ynez Valley shop that just happens to be in Santa Barbara. I mean, the fact that you're bringing wood over the hill to cook
Spent
with.
grain back up here.
I know the fact that every once in a while I get to grab some spent grain and feed it to my cattle, right?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most interesting and beautiful businesses that I've seen in a very long time, because the fact that you could start with a dream and then at some point that dream becomes co-opted because you have bills to pay. And the fact that Third Window Brewing, and you specifically, by being like, the brainchild of this thing, to rolling up your sleeves and making it work, your entire family jumping on board and everybody rowing in the same direction and creating something in that old lumber yard that is truly spectacular and truly special. As your friend, seeing other people line up around the building to get a burger and a beer and wait for an hour, right, is...
They don't wait for an hour anymore.
Not anymore. Sorry. Thank you. But
there's still a little wait.
Yeah, come on. Let's have a little bit of
But you get line beers.
Yeah, line beers. Let's have some mythos with this, right? Yeah. The fact that you guys are all doing that together, and the fact that I really think of it as a Santa Ynez, like we said, Santa Ynez Valley institution that happens to be located on Haley Street in downtown Santa Barbara.
Yeah, there is no Third Window without the Santa Ynez Valley.
Beautiful way to put it. And as your friend, I wanted to have you on because I think people need to know the rest of the story. And I think you've done such a great job. It is so fun to watch you succeed. It's so fun to just, hang out with you and hear your success stories and watch you grow not only as a person, but sticking to your artist sensibilities and saying, nope, this is the way we're going to do it. What else do you have? What else is on the horizon for Third Window?
We're opening a second location in Carpinteria where we're going to get to partner with Bettina and Corazon and create an experience that I think is going to be pretty outstanding. I mean, we got tacos, barbecue, pizza, and what else? Tacos, barbecue, pizza, beer. It's like everything you need, right?
It's everything that makes me happy.
Oh, cheeseburgers.
And cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So give us how you can find Third Window Brewing. What is your Instagram? What is your location? What hours of operation? And what are you serving on what days? Come on. What's your Instagram?
Okay. I think I don't know.
It's
at
Third Window.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
at Third Window Brewing.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
We're located on the corner of Haley and Laguna, and soon on Linden Avenue in Carpinteria.
Perfect. What days are you open?
We're open 7 days a week from 11:30 to 8, 11:30 to 9 on Friday, Saturday. We do Texas-style barbecue on Saturday mornings, Santa Maria-style barbecue on Sundays. We're cooking Katie's steaks now on Fridays and Saturdays in the evenings, which is like a ridiculous deal.
How close are you to getting a Michelin star?
I have no idea.
I honestly think that you're going to have one within the next 5 years.
I like the idea that we can be farm to street food is a thing that I think about all the time. Like, how do you deliver Michelin style, Michelin quality food in the most casual setting imaginable? And because getting Michelin recognition involves sort of service and probably you need silverware.
Well,
I don't know if we'll ever get one, but I like to think that we deserve one, and I know our team does.
I think the thing I could say to you, Kris, is I've never gone there and not had a delicious meal, had an amazing beer. The vibe is always amazing. There's always something new that's happening. There's always music happening. There's always like you're saying, adding barbecue, adding steaks, adding this, adding that. And it seems like you guys are just putting together the best of what Santa Ynez Valley has to offer and putting it right there on a plate for the entire world to enjoy.
The whole thing started by us trying to like use every part of, a beef cow. And that's still what we're doing.
Way to go, man. So everybody, this has been Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos, and my special guest has been Kris Parker, who I basically made do this, and he did a really good job. So round of applause, Kris.
Am I supposed to clap now?
I don't know. You can. What a dork. So once again, this is 105.9 Crazy Country. We'll let you go back to the music. I hope you enjoyed this little installment of Chopping It Up, where we basically just have people I really, really like and people that I want to hear the rest of the story, or I know the story. I want everybody else in the Santa Ynez Valley who loves this place so much to know about the successes, to know about what other people are doing. And like I said, man, Kris, you're one of my best pals. And one of the things I would always say is that for me to be friends with anyone in a real way is that there has to be something about you I really admire. And there are so many things about you I admire in our 20-plus year friendship. I could just go on record and saying, Saarloos & Sons, there would never be a Saarloos & Sons the way it is today without you, because the parameters of like, hey, I'm going to start a winery. I got to feed my family. I got to do this. And you go, the way you should do it is like this, and this. And hopefully I've done you proud and I haven't veered off course too much, because I think I would have heard it from you by now.
You know what? It's, I don't know. There's not a week that goes by when I don't think about the buoys. So you've had an equally impactful...
Tell the story. No. Tell the story of the buoys. We got minutes. We got to call it. Tell the stories.
The buoys?
Yeah. I think
you should tell this. It's your story, Keith.
No. I've been telling your story this entire time. It's your turn.
Keith and I have been friends for a long time. And am I allowed to talk about you in the third person on... Oh.
I'll leave.
Okay. No, it's all right.
Go.
Yeah, we've both gone through losing people who are important to us, and there was a time when we were dealing with that, and Keith told me about I guess it's an axiom that is involved in his family, where like the direction that you should be headed is you sort of triangulate the teachings of your grandfather, the teachings of your dad, and that gives you a sort of like waypoint in life, and then sometimes those buoys change. And, for me, that's a core element of my sort of ambition now, and it extends into like how would they want you to interact with your family and all the badness that's involved with that, and how would they want you to make your decisions. And that's just one of those like core learnings that becomes who you are, that came from you. So thank you for that, Keith.
I very much appreciate it. The buoys are one, if you just keep them lined up, you're probably heading in the right direction. And for us, our family creed is we live to honor those that have come before us, and we prepare the way for those yet to come. And I hope that, and one of the things I see in you is you living out that every single day. You're honoring your grandfather, your father, your entire family. You've shown an incredible work ethic to both of your children, and they get up, and I think they are going to succeed in life because of the work ethic that not only you've shown them, but or told them about, but more or less the work ethic that you have shown them. Good way to end the show. So everybody, that was Keith Saarloos and Kris Parker. We're chopping it up. Back to your regularly scheduled awesome music here at Crazy Country 105.9. I can't believe they gave me a show.